The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Sign that petition, y'all. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description. If you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org. Now, the impeachment proceedings, I'm not going to keep breaking down the details of it all and from the origin to now. You could go to the past BFN reports to catch up, but I will talk about what's new. So Democratic lawmakers have actually notified the White House and Trump that they are going to issue subpoenas to actually collect documents related to the July 25th phone call between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, that actually spun these whole impeachment proceedings. Now, other things that have happened, aside from Adam Schiff, the Cali Congress member who's actually the House Intelligence Chair who's leading this impeachment proceeding, said is deeply concerned about the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo vowing to block five former and current State Department officials from being interviewed or interrogated about this scenario. But also the Washington Post is reporting that Trump actually enlisted Mike Pence into the scenario when back in May he actually instructed Mike Pence not to attend the presidential inauguration in Ukraine, but also had him notify that president that they were withholding the military aid and to put more pressure on corruption investigation, which was understood was actually had to deal with the investigation into the Bidens. Green Wall and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Sign that petition, y'all. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. We can do this shit. You can find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org and look up Get Donald Trump off Twitter by Bishop Grady, B$hip Grady. Lays out exactly why he should be removed from the platform, from spreading misinformation to violating Twitter policies to putting us, people abroad, even U.S. troops in danger, y'all. Like, come on, this shit has got to stop straight from Twitter. And it continues because Trump actually even lashed out yesterday talking about how and we'll assume it's Trump, you know what I'm saying, because there's no guarantee that it's him putting the thumbs to that phone of his and actually putting these tweets out there. But it's like the do nothing Democrats should focus more on building up the country instead of wasting everyone's time on bullshit. Now, this is so not presidential, but all right, fine, you think this is bullshit. But then goes on to talk about how Congressmember Adam Schiff, who's leading the impeachment proceeding, said he couldn't hold Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's blank strap. You know what I'm saying? Basically saying the jock strap. Like, he couldn't hold his jock strap. And then at a press conference with the president of Finland, he's being in question, and he's just like really kind of just, his skirt seems lifted in how he's responding to some of these questions. But he then goes on to say, like, listen, like, you know, Biden and his son are stone cold crooked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Without really any proof. Said he walked away with millions and he knows nothing or whatever. And while he might be onto something, I mean, I think he's really showing what he's made of, because he's doing what I would call a bitch fit. You know what I'm saying? Green Wall and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Sign that petition, y'all. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org and look up Get Donald Trump off Twitter by Bishop Grady, laying out exactly why he should be removed from that platform, proving violating Twitter policies. Now, moving on, Vermont Senator and 2020 presidential candidate Bernie Sanders had complained of a chest pain actually Tuesday night while in Vegas at a campaign event, and ended up undergoing surgery for a blocked artery. So surgeons actually put 2 stents into his arteries, you know, unclogging them and shit. And, you know, he had to stay for a day or 2. Now, while this is a surgery that's performed, it said, like, you know, about 500,000 times a year in the United States, it obviously brings a lot of renewed scrutiny towards his age in running for president. I mean, Holmes is 78 years old. But, you know, he didn't waste no time in using this as a platform to really talk about how, you know, you never know when a medical emergency is going to hit you. He tweeted, and no one should go bankrupt for it, Medicare for all. You know what I'm saying? So smart play by him, though. But, dang, that's an old dude. Green Wall and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Make sure y'all sign that petition, y'all. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description. If you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org and look it up. Now check this out. Over in Iraq, shit been getting real. There's been a lot of anti-government protests going on countrywide. protesting against like corruption and the lack of employment and jobs and the lack of like public services. So in Baghdad's Tahrir Square, you had hundreds of people that were actually protesting, and there was a police crackdown on these protesters. 18 were killed, over 800 were actually wounded because the police were basically just firing tear gas and live ammunition into these crowds. Shit got real. They actually opened fire on protesters in the southern city of Nasiriyah, as well as there were thousands of people protesting in Halab, Basra, Kirkuk, and Tikrit. Now keep in mind that in response to these crackdowns, and they're protesting using popular refrains from chants from the Arab Spring. The people demand the fall of the regime. That's how real it's getting. And in response to this, across many cities in Iraq, there was a shutdown, or the curfews were put in place, and the internet was actually cut off for much of the country. So stay woke. Green Wall and Graduation. We'll do the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Over in Britain, actually, Prime Minister Boris Johnson spoke at a conference of his ruling party's Conservative Party, right? And he basically laid out this long-awaited Brexit deal, while saying that the United Kingdom is actually prepared for a no-deal Brexit, which many people are in fear of for like customs and trade purposes or whatever. But it seems like the elite have no problem with it, right? But in this deal, he basically says Northern Ireland will exit the European Union customs union by 2021, along with the rest of the United Kingdom, but will be allowed to keep a free-flowing border with the Irish Republic while adhering to European Union trade customs. Now, people like Philippe Lamberts, who's actually the head of the European Parliament's steering committee on Brexit, called this plan like inconsistent. He feels like it's disastrous and that a no-deal Brexit is looming. But keep in mind that his spokesperson for Boris Johnson even said that they're going to attempt to suspend Parliament again, even though they had already suspended it, and then the Supreme Court ruled that it was unlawful to do so. They're going to suspend it between October 8th and October 14th before this no Brexit deadline is due on Halloween, which a lot of people feel like takes away the negotiation time and pushes them towards a no-deal Brexit. We'll see what happens. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Over in Hong Kong, pro-democracy demonstrations continue again, day after day after day. But I told y'all the other day, on Tuesday actually, how 18-year-old Sang Ken was actually shot by police. And the first time that Hong Kong police had actually used live ammunition throughout the whole 17 weeks of this pro-democracy protest had been going on, which initially started from the extradition bill that has since been revoked. But now it's about like police brutality and how they treating the citizens and whatnot. So this is another example of it, because Chi Ken was actually, even though he was shot in the chest by the police officers, he was arrested for assaulting a police officer and for rioting, and possibly among other things. Now, protesters then were just smashing yesterday surveillance cameras, breaking machines at subway stations. There's even an incident where they were using gasoline bombs to set fire to a police station. So shit is getting wild. Chief Executive Carrie Lam is actually going to unveil, she's meeting with the cabinet on Friday to unveil some sweeping emergency powers that include banning protesters from wearing masks that protect their identity, or whether they're protecting their identity or protecting themselves from tear gas. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So in the eastern Atlantic Ocean, Hurricane Lorenzo had actually hit the Azores, which is an archipelago in the Portuguese territory. This actually, they hit them with high winds, a lot of what they call a heavy surf or whatever, a lot of ocean water, and no deaths yet. But the crazy thing is, Hurricane Lorenzo was actually it hit Azores as a Category 2 storm, but it was actually at one point a Category 5 storm with 160-mile-an-hour winds, the craziest storm ever seen in the Atlantic Ocean in that region, which is so far north and so far east. Now, what it's now headed to like hit up Ireland as a extratropical cyclone. So with hurricane-like winds. So it's the first, you know what I mean, this is not really a typical thing, but British scientists are warning that, like, you know, like this is going to triple by the end of the century due to, like, you know, human-induced climate change. So Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So the British Treasury in London got sprayed yesterday. So activists, I've told y'all about the Extinction Rebellion activists, climate activists that have actually been doing some crazy demonstrations in London and England, and as well as even in the US in New York or whatever. Well, they got it in using a fire truck engine hose to actually spray fake blood onto the British Treasury. Now, they also put out a banner that said "Stop funding climate death." At least 2 people were arrested. One of the activists that were with Extinction Rebellion actually interviewed with Reuters and told them that Reuters, I don't know how you say it, but they told them that, you know, the red represents actually the people that are dying in the global south due to climate change, as well as the people who are going to die worldwide due to climate change if people don't act. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So over in California, actually at the Otay Method Detention Center, a 37-year-old Cameroonian immigrant, Nabane Abiyendi, actually died, and he died from he suffered a brain hemorrhage with the authorities at the detention center, which is operated by Core Civic, by the way, a for-profit prison company, prison corporation rather. They actually said that he suffered a brain hemorrhage in the middle of the night that paralyzed him. He was rushed to a San Diego hospital, but he died while undergoing treatment. So obviously this brings back alarm toward immigrants that are dying in these detention centers. You know what I'm saying? But keep in mind that this also plays on the fact that Core Civic and these detention centers are really not to be trusted, even if they did try to do everything that they could. Currently, there's a bill on Gavin Newsom's desk, the governor of California, to actually sign, where he will ban for-profit detention centers in California, which I already did, but apparently he did, and it still has to be signed. So that's coming. We'll see what happens, though. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. I do all of that because opera singer Placido Domingo is actually resigned as being the director of the Los Angeles Opera. And this is because since August, at least 20 women have actually come forward and told reporters about how he regularly would harass them and pressure them into sexual relationships. Even while at work, you know, he'd forcibly kiss them, you know, and touch them without permission. Even in some instances, he would call them like a lot, you know what I mean, at late night while they're at home and all of that shit. So, you know, dude resigned, and we'll see what happens, if any charges may go against him or what. But yeah, man, you gotta step your game up. Just because you can sing opera, that don't mean you can sing like on some R&B shit. You better learn how to mac these women, man. Stop playing. You know, I just feel like people who resort to shit like that, they really don't have no swag. So you know what I mean, step your swag up. Domingo. Green Wall and Graduate. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Make sure y'all sign that petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or go to change.org, look up Get Donald Trump off Twitter, spelled exactly how it sounds. Lays out exactly why you should be removed from the platform for violating Twitter policies, to put nonsense truth, people abroad in danger, all the misinformation he's spreading just from that Twitter account. Get him the fuck out of here. Now, moving on though, they coming at your boy Arkels. That's your boy. You know what I'm saying? Now, he is currently behind bars in Chicago, awaiting a federal charge up there of which he'll be facing on April 27th. Charges of aggravated criminal sexual assault involving women and girls. But despite that, a federal judge in Brooklyn, New York, denied him bail and basically set his trial date for May 18th, where he's going to face charges of racketeering, of kidnapping, sexual exploitation of children, and of sex trafficking. Green Wall and Graduation. Shit. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So in a court in Dallas, Texas, that was actually run by this courtroom that was run by Judge Tammy Kemp. Now, first name Tammy. I don't gotta tell you what race she is. You dig? Now, they actually ruled that this white former police officer, Amber Geiger, who was the murderer of Botham Jean due to a mishap of Geiger actually going into the apartment directly below hers, thinking it was hers, thinking there was an intruder in the house, somehow able to get in, and then killing Botham Jean, a big black man, or black man that was definitely bigger than her, whatever. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison. She'll be eligible for parole in 5 years. And the internet is in the uproar. Black Twitter is when Brant Jean, Botham's younger brother, actually, said that, he forgives Amber and doesn't even wishes she didn't get any jail time, and actually asked for Judge Kemp if he could give her a hug, and which he did. Judge Kemp also came down, gave the whole family a hug, gave Geiger a Bible, and she embraced it as well. Meanwhile, there's people outside protesting, saying that sentencing is too lenient. One woman even ended up tackled to the ground. You got a bunch of people talking about no justice, no peace. So, not sure what they're trying to get out of that, but that's what's happening though. Green Wall and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Now let me put some shit in perspective for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Anti-war groups had actually notified that at least 10 activists were arrested yesterday protesting outside of Creech Air Force Base, which is northwest of Las Vegas in Nevada. Now, they were having a civil disobedience demonstration, protesting outside of this Air Force base. This base is actually where there are drone pilots that operate drones on missions on behalf of the U.S. military and the CIA on missions throughout the Middle East. Right now, keep in mind this. I told y'all weeks ago about how there was a drone strike that actually took place in Afghanistan that ended up killing. They say they're trying to look for Taliban and all of that, but they ended up killing a bunch of Afghan civilian farm workers who were just resting in the field after harvesting pine nuts. It was 30 of them killed, 40 wounded. But think about how there are people in Nevada working joysticks that work planes that are literally killing people in other countries for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's what time we in. Green Wall and Graduation.